Hey Melinda, Matthew here with freeprescriptionlenses.com, and with the help of my GoPro camera, I'm going to show you how I cut prescription lenses with transitions gray lenses and Crizal anti-glare for your Gucci 2910 color VNZ, which is the pink purple in the 52 eye size. Let me take everything out of the bag that Gucci sends it to me in. Of course, they send it with a little plastic sleeve on the temple to prevent the temples from rubbing together during shipping, and that's exactly how I'm going to ship it to you. And this is your frame. Can you see the little Gucci logo on there? It is the same logo that comes on your case, which is the Kissing G's, as they call it, with the chain. Hopefully you can see it's got that same logo on there if my camera is good enough to show that. Of course, this is your Gucci case, and I'll show you that a little bit later. Let's go ahead and start cutting your lenses. I'm going to pop out your demo lenses, one of which says Gucci on there. I'm going to take these out, and I'm going to put your Italian frame into the tracing element of my French edger, and hopefully there'll be no fighting. And actually, hang on one second, there's something I want to do. I want to memorize this shape. Let's go ahead and do that. So if you ever need new lenses for this frame, I'll have it programmed into the computer. Let's see, we're going to hit that button and it's going to trace the frame. This little stylus is going to pop up and it's going to go around the right side tracing that shape before moving over and tracing the left. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed in quality. You buy a genuine, authentic Gucci frame and you will receive free, clear, single vision prescription or non-prescription fashion lenses. My receipt has my federal ID tax number, so if you have vision insurance or flex dollars, you will be reimbursed for this purchase, whether they are prescription or not. And in just a moment, that shape's going to pop up. Here we go. Now it's going. Now we're cooking with peanut oil. But, oh, got to use the little blocks. The little blocks. Where's my little blocks? Here they are. And get on there. Get on there. Let's see. You have this. Put in your pupillary distance, which is 67, which is 33.5 per eye. So we can go ahead and enter that. The computer starts at 32.5. I'm going to hit this plus button twice until 33.5 pops up. And now let's go down and we can get your lenses prepped. I'm going to put those there for now. Let's see, your right eye reads -4, -150 at 100. Spin the axis wheel of my Marco 101 lensometer to 100. Check one thing here. Yeah, I got the flashlight. We're ready. We're ready. Put your lens in. I'm going to put the power drum on -4. Let me zero everything out so that it is dialed in perfectly. Put the power drum on -4. Put your lens in and rotate it until the sphere power comes in clearly. Put that down, check your astigmatism correction, and that looks good. And I'm actually going to, let me make sure this is the correct lens. -4, -150, we are good. So this is your right lens. Now I'm going to put 3 dots on there. That might be a little light for you to see, so I'm going to darken them for you. 1, 2, 3. And this is the right lens. Do the same thing for the left. Your left eye reads -4, -250 at 83. Keep the power drum on -4. Rotate the lens until the sphere power comes in clearly. Check the astigmatism correction once I find your optical center. That looks good, and let's just double check that the final power is -650. Yep, okay, that looks good. Let's go ahead and put 3 dots on your lenses. Let's see if this pen writes better. 1, 2, and 3, and this is, I'm going to put an L on this one, which stands for not right, which is just like me, because I ain't right either. Where can I find a pen that writes better? Let's try that one next time. Put that there. Let's just see if it does write better. My Kingdom for Good Writing pen. There we go. There we go. So I'm going to take your lenses back down here, and I'm going to put the right lens onto the platform. Now, this is a block. I like to call it Jenny from the block. I need to attach this to your lens while it is cutting. This is what's going to hold it in place in the machine. That little silver button on the back is a magnet, and it's going to do its job twice. I've already applied a double-sided adhesive sticker to the block. I'm going to pull it away. It is made by 3M, as you can see. I'm going to make sure that silver button, that magnet, lines up where it's supposed to go. Now your right lens that we have here, the reason why I put the 3 dots on there is because of your astigmatism. It has to line up just perfectly. It cannot be off at all. And so that center dot is your optical center. These other 2 that line up with this orange graph tells me that it's lined up in the correct meridian and that it is not off axis, as we say. And I'm going to hit that button. The arm comes down, drops the block onto the lens. Let's do the same thing now for the left lens. Put that there. Hopefully you can see the dots a little better this time. Of course, the pupillary distance automatically goes to 33.5. Get everything lined up perfectly here. The optical center, which is right in front of your pupil. And oops, I almost forgot to put the block on. Pull the paper away to make this side sticky so you can see the 3M logo. Get off me, get off me. And hit the button. The arm comes down and places the block onto the left lens. Now this is the edger. It costs $40,000. It weighs 200 pounds. I recommend everyone go out and buy one. Then you can cut your own glasses at home. You won't see me anymore. The actual cutting wheel, ooh, that looks good. I just put fresh batteries in there. Don't look at the light. Don't look at the light. But the actual cutting wheel is over here on the far right. It's going to act like a heavy grit sandpaper to grind away your lens material. This wheel in the center with that channel, that little valley, that's what's going to put the V-shaped bevel onto the lens. Your lens will be flat when it's still against the roughing wheel, the cutting wheel. The bevel wheel is going to put that bevel on there so that it stays inside the bevel of the frame. Now, again, the magnet's going to go, oops, got to change out the chucks. Got to change out the chucks. Put the smaller chucks on there. So this is what your lens is going to go into. Boom, it's going to fit in there like peas in a pod, or like a lens in an edger. So I'm going to place the lens, that magnet again is going to hold it in place there into the chuck, or as I like to call it, the Charles, because I don't know this machine well enough to call it Chuck. A little bad humor there. I'm going to wake the computer up. I do not want to polish your lenses. I do not want to put a bevel on the front surface. I'm only going to put a safety bevel on the rear surface. These are polycarbonate lenses. That's what the PC stands for. Hit the start button, the green arrow, which is start in every language. The clamp shuts, and then the lens is going to move up and be traced by 2 white styluses. They're going to make sure the lens is large enough to fit into the frame. And of course they're going to measure the lens at every point to measure the thickness, to know exactly and precisely where to place the bevel. In fact, let's do something special. Let's do something special here. I'm going to move the bevel. I usually don't do this in too many videos, but just due to your high amount of astigmatism, I want to control even more precisely. I'm going to override the computer and tell it to go where, oops, stop, go back. I'm going to tell it where I want the bevel. Let's hit that button. Now let's hit the percentage, and I'm going to move the bevel. You can see right here, that is the bevel of the lens. I can move it all the way forward. I can move it all the way to the back of the lens, which I don't want to do. I'm going to move it to about 30%, where 1/3 of the lens, the bevel is on the front, and 2/3 are out the back. Now I can hit the start button. The cutting wheel is starting up. The lens is going to move over. As you can see, water has begun spraying in the background. That's only to collect the optical sawdust. Polycarbonate lenses cut dry, where plastic and high-index plastic cut wet. In just a moment, your lens will touch down onto the cutting wheel. Because of the anti-glare coating, I'm cutting this on the soft cycle, which makes the lens move rather slowly, so there's no slippage. Now, your lenses are made out of polycarbonate. Polycarb is 40% thinner and lighter than regular plastic. They're also virtually unbreakable. They are bulletproof up to .22 caliber and have both UVA and UVB protection built into the lens. We know what the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays can do to your skin from overexposure, where your eyes are 8 times more sensitive than your skin. So you have permanent sunscreen for your eyes that never needs to be reapplied, unlike the lotions, creams, and sprays that you have to reapply every few hours when you're in direct exposure to the sun. Now the other nice thing about your lens is not only are they thinner and lighter, but it's also aspheric, meaning it has a flatter curvature front surface. You have the transition lenses, which I'll demonstrate in a moment, but you also have the Crizal anti-glare. Anti-glare is 3 features in one. It eliminates glare when driving at night, but particularly driving at night in the rain, but from street lights, stoplights, computer screens, overhead fluorescent lights. The second feature is it's an anti-reflection lens. That's what ARC stands for, anti-reflective coating. You can see how the overhead fluorescent lights reflect off the lens, or if someone's looking at you, they won't see their reflection in your glasses, so it makes for much better eye contact. Of course, the number one reason people get it is if you take a selfie or if someone takes a picture with the flash, you won't see the flash lit up in the lens. You'll see just your eyes. Now the third feature with the anti-glare coating that I like, which is the practical side, is it comes with the hardest scratch coating in the business. The machine that applies the anti-glare coating costs well over $1 million. It takes 24 hours to apply because they actually vaporize 7 different layers on your lens, and it has to dry in between each layer. And because of the time and the expense of applying that coating, they put the industry's hardest scratch coating on top to protect, as I just mentioned, their time and investment. Now the lens is coming to as close to its final size. If you notice, your lenses are still completely flat at the edges, just like a nickel. If I were to take it out now, it would actually stand up on the counter on its own. In just a moment, it'll drop down on the bevel wheel to get the V-shaped bevel. Now your lens, the styluses are tracing again one more time to know exactly and precisely where to place the bevel, so you have the best cosmetic look possible with this frame. Now it will drop down onto the bevel wheel. It's going to get a knife-like edge. It will no longer be flat. A very dull knife, like me, but a knife-like edge nonetheless. Although your lenses will be so sharp, Melinda, that you might be able to cut a piece of wet tissue with your lenses, providing that you soak the tissue in a bucket of water overnight and then press down really hard. You just might be able to cut through that tissue. But no, if you can think of your frame like a gutter, it has just a little bit of lip on both sides. That's what's being put onto the lens now. Now as you see water begin to spray, it does that for the last 20 seconds of the cycle, just to wash away any optical debris or optical sawdust, which is called swarf. And you have some just around that corner of the lens that just goes around now. In just a moment, this arm is going to move outward. On that arm is a little spinning wheel that you would find on a Dremel tool. That's what's going to apply the safety bevel to the rear surface of the lens, the concave surface of the lens. Oop, someone just paid on PayPal. That's a nice thought. Someone just bought a pair of glasses from me while I was standing here cutting yours. Thank you, PayPal. Thank you, Rodney. Rodney, stay tuned for your video. Okay, so your lens is done. Let me go ahead and take it out of the chuck, or as I call it, the Charles. Let me grab a paper towel so I can dry off your lens. Now, it didn't all come off. That is what is called swarf. That's coming off in one piece, like when you can clean your dryer vent in one piece when you scrape it off. Now, I'm going to clean all this off very cleanly. I'm going to remove that all off of your lens, and I'm going to place it onto the counter. I'm going to scrape all that off. And once it's on the counter, I collect it very neatly into one pile, and then I wipe it on the floor. Why? Because the clown gets to have fun while he's at work too. Okay, so somewhere in here I've got a little tiny Phillips head screwdriver. I'm going to loosen, lefty loosey, your screw that has opened up the eye wire. Turn the frame around. I'm going to tuck the lens in. And very carefully, without losing that screw, I'm going to tighten it back down. Righty-tighty. Yep, that's in there very good. Let me go ahead and start working on your left lens. Flip that over to L, which stands for not right. And hit the start button. Just like before. Whoa, come here, flashlight. The door closes, the clamp shuts, and then the two white styluses are going to trace the shape of the left side of the frame to make sure the lens is large enough to go in there. And of course, measuring the thickness at every point to know exactly and precisely where to place the bevel, so you have the least amount of edge thickness with this frame. So you have great cosmetic quality. Hopefully now you can see the image on there. Hang on, yep, we're at 30%. Well, that looks good. Now can you see that Gucci logo on the side of your frame? And of course, while I'm here, this is your Gucci case. It stores flat to put in your pocket or your purse when you don't need it. It opens up, and of course, hopefully on the inside you can see that same Gucci logo. The chains that are on the outside is in the soft felt on the inside. But this folds open with a nice soft felt in there. Of course, let me take this block off. It is no longer needed anymore. And your frame will fit down inside that case, and then that snaps shut. And of course, you have your Gucci cloth, the cleaning cloth, and your card of authenticity should you ever want to register with Gucci. Now let me take that out. Now I'm going to provide you with cleaning instructions on not only how to care for your glasses, but for your case and cloth, so they will last you for years. No other seller on the internet is doing that now. So let's go on back down here. We're going to inspect your right lens while the left is cutting. Let me see if I can darken that red dot just a little bit, or I'm just going to put a new one there. How's that? I'm going to put the axis wheel back to 100. Put the lens in. Find the optical center. That is good. I'm going to put a dot on your lens, but I'm also reading -4 for the spherical component. Your lens is -4. The way your prescription works, the unit of measurement we use in the optical world is called a diopter, spelled D-I-O-P-T-E-R. It starts at 0 and goes up in quarter increments from there, 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1, and so on. We're at a -4. So you need 16 steps of correction for your farsightedness. Without your glasses on, everything is much too large. That's why there's a minus sign. Your lenses will minify 16 steps to make everything the correct size. Now, after it's the correct size, you need another 6 steps, a diopter and a half, of astigmatism correction. Now, there is a stigma over the word astigmatism. It just means shape. It's like saying someone has straight hair, someone else has curly hair. It is not a disease. It is not an affliction. It fluctuates. It comes and goes. But astigmatism is why you squint and why 6s and 8s look alike, or the letters P and F. So this first number gets everything the correct size. The second number takes away those fuzzy edges. Think of it as the fine-tune knob. And we're going to turn that knob to 100. A straight line is 0 to 180, with 90 being in the center. 0, 90, 180. We're going to turn that fine-tune knob just past 90 to about 100. So we're going to do that now. Check your astigmatism correction. And we end up with -550, which is halfway between 5 and 6. Remember high school algebra where you add two like signs together? Yeah, me either. No one remembers high school algebra. But let's put it in today's term. If someone had borrowed $4 from you and then they borrowed another $1.50, they would owe you $5.50. We're at 550, 5.5. So that is made perfectly. Now for your left eye, still the same amount, 16 steps of farsighted correction, but you need actually another 10 steps, so a total of 26 steps combined for your left eye. So you actually need 2.5 diopters of astigmatism correction, and we're going to turn that fine knob to 83. Now these first two numbers are real values to be concerned with. This last box, 183, that could be anywhere from 0 to 180. That just tells us where to line up the two curves. You have one curve on your eye, which is a -4, and you have another curve going this way, and it's how we line up those curves. You have 100 on one side, 83 on the other, and that's the curvature of your eyes. That's why you're very light sensitive. That's why you wanted the transition lenses that turn dark, and of course the Crizal anti-glare coating to eliminate glare when driving at night. Now this frame sells for $339. The transition adds another $50, and the Crizal adds another $40 for a total of $429. And of course, no tax on eyeglasses made in North Carolina. It's like tax-free weekend year-round. Let's hit that button to open up the chuck. Let's dry your lens off. Use my thumbnail to scrape that off. I'm just going to eliminate the middleman. Now I'm just going to drop it straight onto the floor. Now that you know what I'm going to do with it. Whee! Come on, get off my thumbnail. Whee! Can you see it falling? Can you see it falling? Okay, where's your frame? Where's your frame? Let's go ahead. Loosen the eye wire screw here. Turn the frame upside down so we don't lose the screw that is still in there. We're going to tuck the lens in. Make sure everything is in there. And now we're going to tighten that screw down. Make sure everything's lined up in there perfectly, and it is. And again, the very minimal amount of edge thickness, even with your prescription, when we have a total of 6.5 diopters, that looks pretty good. So let's go back down here, and let's see, my flashlight, my reading card. I never did darken that dot over there. Let me do that now. That one looks still pretty good. I'm going to put it in. I'm going to turn the fine-tune knob back to 83 for the left eye. Put it in just above that red dot. Check the power. And I'm getting, everything nice and crisp, I'm getting -4 diopters of spherical component. Check your astigmatism correction. And I end up with a -650. So again, we add the 4 and the 250 and we get 650, which is exactly halfway between 6 and 7. So that is made correctly. You have 67 millimeter for a pupillary distance. I'm going to turn this card around. I'm going to place the 0 against my thumb on your right lens. And then when we hold it up on the left, we're getting 67 millimeters. So that is made perfectly as well. Now this is the time in every video as I clean your lenses that I explain that when you get these in the mail, and of course free shipping anywhere in the United States, but when you get these in the mail, there's a very small chance that these could fit too loose or too tight. However, there's an 80% chance that one side is going to sit higher than the other. That is because 80% of people have one ear that is higher than the other. And because of that statistic, 99% of all optical shops will do free adjustments if you ask them. But I'm going to get these in standard alignment first, also known as a 3-point stance. The 3 points are 1, 2, and the bottom of the frame being 3. I set them on the counter and press down. There is no wobble. When I flip it over, press down, there is no wobble. When I say wobble, I'm part of that 80%. When I take mine off and press down on the counter, they wobble like a ship on the ocean. No, yours, none of that. Open each temple or close each temple to make sure they line up perfectly, and they do, and that they're not askew in any way. Now I'm going to check the tension on each spring hinge. That looks good. Now this is what your lenses look like while they are still clear. I'm going to go ahead and activate the transitions component of your lenses. That is just a beautiful frame. Where's my flashlight? I got to show you that one more time. Hopefully everyone can see that pink purple that's on there, and then of course the very subtle Gucci background behind the Kissing G logos. This is really nice. So, all right, so let's go ahead and activate your lenses. I'm going to expose them to a strong burst of ultraviolet light. And as you will see, all transition lenses get dark. You know, on day one, it takes about 30 to 45 seconds for them to darken. A little bit longer when you come back inside. 45 seconds to a minute 15. Now, Melinda, this is important. Pay attention. All transition lenses will get dark on day one. Give them 2 weeks of exposure to the sun. And they're going to continue to darken every day for the first 2 weeks until they get to their final setting. After that, they will work for years with maximum performance. The only time they will not work is if you're behind the windshield in a traditional car. Your windshield absorbs all the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays so your upholstery doesn't rot or your dashboard doesn't crack from sitting in the sun. That's why they don't turn dark in a car. Now, if you have a convertible or a motorcycle, they will darken, just not with a roof over your head. They're also temperature sensitive, so meaning that when it's 85 and 90 degrees and below, they get darker than they do when it's over 100 degrees. I remind everyone, when it's 100 degrees outside, you're miserable, they're miserable, everyone's miserable when it's 100 degrees outside. So that's that. If anyone has any questions about what I can or can't do, just email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. Melinda, I hope you enjoyed watching as I cut prescription lenses with transitions and anti-glare coating for your Gucci. Let me turn the card over. I can't see when it's this close. For your Gucci 2910 in the color VNZ. Of course, that is the 135 temple length. These are original Gucci's made in Italy. And everyone else hopefully has got the chance to see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.